With the release of Vanguard Zombies Season 1, obviously we got a ton of new intel and radios inside of the game, but one radio in particular tells us the future of Vanguard Zombies and exactly where we will be doing the first Easter egg for this game. Now this was shared by COD Lore Facts and the entire COD Lore Chat Discord, super cool. I would recommend checking them out if you're into the lore of the zombies. And in here they have everything that you need to know in terms of intel, and this one specifically is a big deal. So the intel is called a place of power, and it is Nordicus speaking of Lucien Pure and his construction of the Hotel Royal, headquarters for the Society Occult. Now, please note that I am not French in any way, shape, or form, and we're gonna pronounce a lot of this wrong. But here's what Nordicus has to say. I have consorted with many humans over the centuries, but few left a lasting impression. It is difficult to remember their faces, much less their names, but one in particular stands out. Lucien Pure, an architect, Freemason he called himself, quite clever for someone so short-lived. He was a senior member of the Society Occult, a group in contact with my kind since your Middle Ages. They understood us well enough to write their own spellbook based on ether rune magic. You know it as the Tome of Rituals. They always changed their meeting sites to maintain secrecy until Lucien designed what would become their mystic fortress. He erected the Hotel Royal above the catacombs that run beneath Paris. Underground tunnels lined with bodies, laid out in rune magic pattern to create a dimensional nexus. It is no mistake that Kortifex sealed off Hotel's rooftop to further Von List's plans. If we cannot stop his undead army from raising an earnest, the Hotel Royal will become a rallying point, a place of power to ensure that our enemies prevail. So Nordicus is telling us that the Hotel Royal was built on the catacombs inside Paris in the real world. Now in those catacombs there are thousands of people buried, and basically what they're saying is they created the tunnels in the catacombs in a shape of a dark ether rune to create a nexus point between the dark ether and the regular world. That is their most powerful point, with tons and tons of bodies for Kortifex to raise from the dead. Von List and Kortifex do talk about that, we'll get into that in just a second, but for the first Easter egg inside of Vanguard Zombies, it would make a ton of sense for this to be the biggest part. We head to Hotel Royal and we make our way into the catacombs beneath the hotel and basically have to fight off hordes of the undead trying to stop Von List and Kortifex's plan over at the hotel. This could very well be where the portal in Von List's office that we heard about from the most recent Call of Duty blog post, that could be where this portal leads. Maybe it leads to their little secret base inside of the catacombs where Kortifex and Von List are enacting their plan. Now, as it turns out, the Society Occult was actually the ones that would summon Kortifex to the Hotel Royale. They were basically a huge cult inside of the hotel that summoned Kortifex there. Now, Von List says, "Tell me, Kortifex, what do you remember of the men and women who used to summon you to the Hotel Royale?" Kortifex responded, "Is that how they put it? They summoned me, such gall." The members of the Society Occult were the wealthiest, most powerful people in Europe, puppet masters of the Western world. They also dabbled in dark magic. Their seances and rituals at the Hotel Royale were the stuff of legend. Now, Kortifex went on to mention one very specific thing. He said, "The one thing that impressed me was their spellbook, the Tome of Rituals, dark ether rune magic written by humans, but they could not have written it without help." So Bellacar was probably the one that helped them write this, and it also sounds like the Society Occult is actually just the beginning formations of the Omega Group. I cannot confirm that, but I would not be shocked one bit if a branch of this occult was the Omega Group. Now, one last important thing that Von List says here is, Oberfuhrer Von List to all Die Wahrheit personnel operating in Merville, France, in Paris, and in the swamp, to known to the locals as Shino Numa. First, your service is exemplary. The dimensional weak spot at the windmill site is already receiving vital support from the Dark Ether. The archaeological dig at Shino Numa is yielding important insights about the entities aiding the enemy, and preparations atop the Hotel Royal will ensure that Paris will soon experience a very different sort of nightlife. Now, they also mentioned this. Be advised that another area of operations is underway. You may hear radio traffic from our unit in the eastern desert of Egypt. So the eastern desert of Egypt, that is referring to the desert siege map that we know is coming to Daron Fong in the near future. We'll talk about that in another video. but they do say, and preparations atop the Hotel Royal will ensure that all of Paris will soon experience a very different sort of nightlife. All of this is setting up for a massive Easter egg coming on the top of Hotel Royal and possibly in the catacombs as well, depending on where the portal in Von List's office could possibly take us. Now, a lot of this seems like it's going to be stemming from the Tome of Rituals, the book that the Society Occult ripped up and hid the different papers around the world that basically described all the different artifacts inside of the Dark Ether and all the entities. Von List went around the world before all of these events and basically gathered up all the papers that he could, and they helped him gather the artifacts. And now it kind of sounds like that's going to be another thing that we're doing, is trying to stop Von List from enacting his plan involving the Tome of Rituals at the top of Hotel Royale. Let me know if you guys are excited for the next Easter egg inside of Call of Duty Zombies. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.
I want to give a big shout out to all the channel members over on the channel, and an extra special shout out to all of the Zombie Richtofen members, starting off with hashtag BestMod, Strict Archer, the quippest man in the Southern Hemisphere, Commander _ Whip, my guy Ben the Bulldozer, and the man, the myth, the legend, Tiz Brandon ZR.